What do Nostradamus, Gene Dixon, and Tom Lee have in common? They all predicted the future. Nostradamus, whose book Les Prophéties, listen, I don't speak French, I'm barely speaking Spanish, give me a break. That book contains prophetic verses said to predict the future events, such as the French Revolution and the rise of Napoleon. Gene Dixon, who's an American psychic, gained fame for allegedly predicting the career of Oprah Winfrey and the assassination of President Kennedy. Tom Lee, he's an investments analyst, and in 2017, when it was only $2,000, he said Bitcoin would hit 20 to 55,000 in 5 years. How did these people predict these future events? I don't know. And honestly, I don't care. This isn't a history channel. This is an educational markets channel. What I do care about is what Tom Lee's most recent ETH targets are. And most importantly, how can I capitalize on his Ethereum treasury company, BMNR? Now, I do have a trading plan, and I'm going to go over that at the end of the video. So stick around, buckle up, and let's get into it. Welcome to 15-Minute Money, the show where I search the financial world for the most up-to-date investment ideas, market trends, and income streams so you don't have to. I'm your host, Nick Bradley. Let's get into it. If you're new here, my name is Nick, and I am a former financial advisor. I'm the co-author of the Quick Start Guide to Investing, and I retired at 42. And now I live off a small dividend portfolio and weekly options trades. This is an educational channel where I share what I'm learning to keep me from going back to my 9 to 5. If you want a financial advisor, call one. If you want a market educational video, stick around. If you don't know, Tom Lee is a really smart guy. He's the co-founder of Fundstrat Global Advisors, a prominent Wall Street analyst, and a vocal markets bull. Tom's story is fascinating. He first was a traditional financial analyst. He got to start researching cell phones in the 1990s. Then Tom embraced Bitcoin in 2017. At the time, Bitcoin was like the black sheep of Wall Street. People were thinking, is this even legal? But he put out a report and he caught everybody's attention. Back then, Bitcoin was trading around $2,500, and Tom Lee, in a memo to his clients at Fundstrat, said that Bitcoin was starting to cannibalize demand for gold. He told his clients that the base case for 2022 was a $20,000 Bitcoin, and he had a bull case of 55,000 by 2022. Now remember, nobody was buying Bitcoin. Worldwide, there was less than 300,000 wallets that had one Bitcoin. So his targets seemed comically high, but people laughed, and guess what? They can keep laughing because Tom laughed last. He was right. Bitcoin hit his $20,000 target. In fact, it hit its $55,000 target. People thought that would be crazy, but guess what? 2021, Bitcoin hit about 65,000 bucks. Now, this is a recurring theme with Tom. He is often early, but his long-term conviction, more often than not, has proven to be correct. He's not just throwing out numbers. His predictions are rooted in specific, repeatable methodology. In March 2024, when Bitcoin was around 45K, Tom was making the case for 125,000.
What did you say by the end of next year? Where could it be in your view?
Well, I think that sometime in the next 12, 18 months, Bitcoin can be over 150,000.
It only hit 108, but he was still pretty close. His core thesis is simple: supply and demand. He looks at a few key factors. First, limited supply of Bitcoin. With 95% of all Bitcoin already mined, the supply side is fixed, and it's becoming increasingly scarce. Second, he focuses on the demand side, specifically institutional adoption. He's been a long-term advocate for the digital gold narrative, arguing that Bitcoin will continue to take market share from traditional assets like gold. He also highlights the fact that while the vast majority of Bitcoin is already mined, a very small percentage of the global population actually owns any. This, he argues, sets the stage for a massive demand shock as institutional and retail adoption accelerates. Now let's talk about some of the more recent and some might say staggering predictions. Following the recent rally, Tom has been making headlines with incredibly bullish calls. Let's listen to this.
Tell us what you think. We're at about $111,000. The upside, the downside from here?
Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies like Ethereum are super sensitive to monetary policy. So I think that September 17th is an important catalyst. Crypto typically does really well in the fourth quarter. So I think Bitcoin can easily get to 200,000 before year end. I know it's a big move. It's almost a double. But that's also going to be
almost a double from here. Let's just hold on. Let's just take a quick pause. A double from here. So everybody's listening to this. We're at $111,000, and you think by Christmas time, effectively, we could be at 200,000?
That's right.
So he's publicly stated that he believes Bitcoin could reach 200 or 250,000 bucks in the coming year. Long term, he said, $1 million to $3 million is not out of the picture if Bitcoin can capitalize some of that gold market share. But what about the little brother? What about Ethereum? We know Tom Lee loves Bitcoin, but lately he has turned his attention to Ethereum. He sees both Bitcoin and Ethereum as blue chips of the crypto market, but for various reasons. Ethereum's recent rally and its ongoing innovation, specifically with layer 2 solutions, he sees as a high-tech growth asset. Basically, if Bitcoin is gold, then Ethereum's the internet. And his recent predictions are just as bold as his Bitcoin ones.
Where do you see prices for Ether going?
Well, I looked at some research from Sean Farrell, who's our head of digital asset strategy, and he put out a presentation about Ethereum today. So he thinks the ratio of Ethereum to Bitcoin could go back to its 2021 highs, which is about 0.14. That would value Ethereum today at around 16,000, and it's currently 3,700. So he's just saying Bitcoin ratio versus ETH, let's get back to where it was 5 years ago, which makes sense because it's a better story today than it was in 2021, and that gets you, close to 16,000.
Tom Lee isn't just a pundit. He is an analyst who has been on the front lines of traditional finance. He has a deep understanding of market cycles and institutional behavior, and of course, fundamental forces that drive supply and demand. His continued bullishness on crypto, especially Bitcoin and Ethereum, come from a place of conviction. He thinks that these assets aren't a fad. So whether you agree with his price targets or not, his predictions might seem like a stretch, but his history has proven that we need to pay attention. What am I going to do with this information? Let's get into the charts and find out. So here we are looking at BitMiner. BitMiner is a little tricky because, let me look at the chart, it's wild. It was a know-nothing company, around $6 per share. Some rumors of speculation possibly that it was going to start moving, and then boom, they announced that they're going to be an Ethereum treasury company, and it goes bonkers. Then it comes back down to life. It's up here about 160 per share. Comes back down. This is actually when I started looking into it because I liked what I saw on the charts. If you look at the Fibonacci bands, which I don't use fibs a whole lot, as you can see, because I can't even find them. But if you pull from the bottom move to the top of the move, right here on the 50% is typically a decent level to start looking to get in. And we got all the way down to the 786, which I really like. So when you're in the 786 of that move, a lot of good things can happen. Now here we are, we have another move. And right now it's sitting pretty close to that 786. So it kind of bottomed out again at the 786 level. But the Bollinger Bands with this, I use Bollinger Bands all the time when I'm looking for cash secured puts and covered calls. But for this particular investment, it's not really going to work that well because the Bollinger Band, it would be so skewy because it was $4 to $6 for such a long time. And now, as you can see, pre-market, market opens in 1 hour here on Friday. It's almost up to 50 bucks, which is good because I sold some cash secured puts that are expiring today and some cash secured puts that are going to expire next Friday at $47. So let's take a look at BitMiner. If we wanted to get into BitMiner and we wanted to take a look at how we're going to play some options, hop onto the option chain. Again, this is Thinkorswim, but you can use Webull, you can use Robinhood, you can use Fidelity, whatever you want to do, and you can make some plays. So next Friday, again, I like weekly options, so cash secure puts. And I've got two ideas for BitMiner this week. Obviously, some cash secure puts that I've already got in. Right now, as you can see, the market's trading up towards that $50 strike. I was trading in the 47, and you see they're $212 right now because the price has been going up. I sold the 47s when it was only 47.5, so I got about $400 of premium for those 47s. But even right now, you're looking at a 35 delta, and this is going to change a little bit when the market opens, but 35 delta says that there's about a 35% chance that you will be assigned at the 47 strike here. Again, 47 strike, you're going to be having to buy 100 shares of the company if it falls below the 47 strike by next Friday. But I actually want to get assigned because I think that Tom Lee is right. I think that Ethereum is going to be doing very good things in the near future. And I want to be in a company or in Ethereum position that is going to be doing very well. So I actually like getting a little bit more aggressive and getting some more premium out of the particular strike. But so if you did the 47, let's say, 35% chance you're going to get assigned and you'll get $212 in the next 7 days. That's pretty good. You guys know that I like collecting at least $100 per week, anything under $5,000 or under. So this fits that criteria. $47 per share, 100 shares, you're at $4,700. The other thing you could do is looking at what I call a baby leap. So if we go to the February 20th, 2026 call options, and a leap option is when you're buying an option that is 365 days out. It's more than a year away. This is what I call a baby option, and it's less than half of a year. But Tom thinks that Ethereum is going to be popping here Thanksgiving, Christmas time of 25. So if you buy a baby leap and you get into something in February of 2026, that's a way of gaining control of 100 shares of the company, and you'll be able to maximize that money. So let's say we did a in the money 44 strike. The 44 strike, you're going to pay $1,610. Now you're buying that option. The worst thing that can happen when you buy a call option is it goes to zero. So the most you can lose is $1,610 at this 44 strike. But if Tom is right and Ethereum even gets to $10,000 by Christmas, this $1,600 is probably going to be at least double, if not triple, if this happens by Christmas, because you've got less theta decay if it happens in the next few months. If you want to control 100 shares of the company and you don't want to have a risk of maybe getting assigned, you don't like the cash secure put side, you could buy a call option with kind of a stronger delta. This 44 strike is a 0.69 delta. So you have about 70% of the move. So if it goes double, you're going to get 70% of that double. So being in the money really helps that. A lot of people sell out of the money options. They're cheaper. So let's say you bought this 85 strike. It's going to cost you $670. So it's a lot less money, but you really need BitMiner to get into that 85, where the 44 strike that I was looking at, the in the money call, so you don't have to have it get to the $85 strike, which this one you'd actually need to get over $90 probably to make money. But at the 44 strike, by an in the money call, you don't need it to move as far or as fast to make money. So it is going to cost you more money, but it's cheaper than just buying the shares. If you wanted to control 100 shares of the company right now, you can see that it's $49.50 here after hours right before the market opens. So it's going to cost you $4,950 to control 100 shares if you buy the stock, or if you bought that 44 strike, it's only going to cost you $1,600 to control 100 shares. So those are my two plays. I've got 200 shares of BitMiner right now. I've got 2 cash secure puts expiring today, the 12th, and I've got 2 cash secure puts expiring next Friday, the 19th. Today I plan on rolling 2 more out to get to the 19th or maybe even the 26th. So we'll see what happens, but I like the cash secure puts. I like owning the stock in general, and then I might entertain buying a baby leap to see what happens for the rest of the year. Hey guys, I do this kind of analysis and show the education that I'm learning to keep me away from my 9 to 5. And I'd love for you to like the video, to subscribe, and to join me every Sunday on 15 Minute Money. We'll see you then. Thanks for joining me today on 15 Minute Money, the show where I search the financial world for the most up-to-date investment ideas, market trends, and income streams so you don't have to. I'm your host, Nick Bradley. We'll see you next week.